This is an example of a sustainable landscape. This is an entry garden to a private home. It has good functionality, meaning it has good accessibility to the door, from the driveway, from the street. It's easy to maintain. It also has good environmentally sound aspects to it, rain barrels and pollinator-friendly plants, for example. It has been cost-effective for the homeowner, and it's visually pleasing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 5 considerations of sustainable design. My name is Julie Weisenhorn. I'm an extension educator in horticulture here at the University of Minnesota, and I'm happy to talk to you about these important considerations when you're starting a design project, regardless of the size. A little bit about our nursery and landscape industry here in Minnesota. It's valued at $3.5 billion to our state economy. This includes nurseries, garden centers, irrigation firms, landscape design and build firms, and anything else that has to do with landscaping. The Minnesota Nursery and Landscape Association supports the industry through government legislation, education certification, member networking, and of course communication and good public relations. So our hats off to the MNLA. In the profession of landscape design, we have landscape architects who are licensed, and we also have landscape designers who are not licensed. But lots of people can benefit from understanding design. Homeowners, extension volunteers like master gardeners and master naturalists, managers and superintendents and maintenance supervisors, contractors, installers, our Department of Transportation, Parks and Open Spaces, city councils, and even cemetery managers. That's a real niche landscape market. In sustainable design, we think about a landscape that's developed using practices that will improve the environment. And this is done through conserving resources such as water and energy, and also reducing chemical applications. It will also reduce labor inputs, making it less expensive to implement or install the landscape, and also to maintain it through the future. Sustainable landscapes also reflect plant health and longevity. So these are plants that really, they don't just survive in a landscape, but they actually thrive in your landscape. It might be a little more expensive to install it because we really emphasize doing a lot of upfront work with soil and planning before you start to choose plants and plant them in the ground. But overall, it will require fewer inputs if it's a sustainable landscape to maintain it in the future. And we like to mention that you cannot maintain your way out of a problem. So this means you can't prune your way out of a problem, dig your way out of a problem, or transplant your way out of a problem. Creating a sustainable landscape involves knowing about your site, understanding the conditions, the growing conditions that are available, knowledge of needs. What kinds of things do you have to do in the landscape or accomplish or want to do or look forward to doing? The design is important. The plant selection is key. This is very important when it comes to any kind of sustainability, is that you're choosing plants that are a good fit for your growing conditions. In other words, the plant growing requirements match the site conditions. Implementation or installation is important. You got to do it right the first time. Don't want to go back and do it again. That's not sustainable. And then maintenance considerations, how these plants will be maintained and how these landscapes will be maintained. And it's important to know that sustainability is important whether your design is very simple, like this drawing of this flower bed, or more complex, like this home landscape. So you have an idea for a landscape project, and we hear this a lot in extension from homeowners and other people who are doing projects for community gardens or schools, etc. And they've got this great idea, but they just don't know where to start. So we like to recommend starting with the 5 considerations of sustainable landscape design. Functionality, what you're going to do in the landscape, maintainability, how you're going to take care of the landscape, being environmentally sound, in other words, having a positive impact on the environment versus a negative, being cost effective. Everybody's got a budget, and that's not just financial, but it's also time and your effort. And then last but not least, being visually pleasing. What do you want to see in the landscape? And these considerations are in order of the way that you should think about them when you're thinking about your design project, starting with the function and going on to maintenance, environmentally sound, cost effective, and then last but not least, visually pleasing. So move on to the next presentation, please, to functionality. Let's take a look at that. Doing what you want to do in your landscape.